Upon waking up, Yu Hui arrived at Tivat to obtain the Game King Dueling System. So the gears of fate began to turn. Walnut. The Golden Kingdom is too strong, but why don't you want to play cards with me? Zhong Li. I have never seen such a power before. In general theory, forget it. Anyway, come out, invincible Gun King. Diluc. It is our duty to recast the glory of heroes. Young Master. The boss's electronic dragon is so strong. Why did my full blood start to struggle? Ying. The Magic Girl deck is invincible. Look at me summoning the five-fold Magic Master and throwing you all away. Great Sage. With just a few small animals, you also want to defeat my army of Sumeru. Luli. Small animals. That's their true power that you haven't seen before. Come out. The ultimate destination. The thunder of heaven Zeus, use your power to send them all to another dimension. Naxida. Ah. How do small animals become Phalu novel network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Dueling Monster Card Shop. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Mond, the wind blows on the ground. The screen, preparing to return to Mon City, stopped and looked ahead at the buildings that appeared 10 meters ahead, with a hint of doubt in its eyes. Duel Card Specialty Store. What's going on here? Pai Meng, who didn't have time to break, suddenly hit Ying's back. Shaking his head, Pai Meng said in a daze, "Traveler, why did you suddenly stop?" Ying didn't speak, but pointed to the house not far away. Pai Meng looked in the direction and was slightly taken aback. When did we have an extra room here? At this moment, intermittent sounds came from the room. Why didn't I get Skyman again? Tongzi, it's not that I don't want to play heroes, but I can't get it. If there are 3 Sky Warriors, who wouldn't want to be a hero? Pai Meng and Ying looked at each other, and a big question mark slowly popped out of their heads. Heroes. Skyman. What is this thing? Why can't I understand a single word? The two of them looked through the window and saw a very handsome young man lying on the table, feeling unattainable. In front of him were all kinds of cards scattered haphazardly. In addition, there are 4 tables neatly placed in the room, and the boxes on the tables are filled with card bags with various patterns. The two rubbed their eyes to make sure they weren't feeling dizzy. Sensing someone looking at him, Yu Hui looked out the window. Upon seeing this, Ying and Pai Meng instinctively wanted to hide, but when they realized that they had neither stolen nor robbed, why did they hide? So he walked openly to the door. Seeing the two of them, Yu Hui's eyes lit up. After traveling here for 3 days, he finally met a living person. And they are 2 people I am very familiar with. 3 days ago, he received Forest Book, Desert Book, 12 Legendary Missions, and 16 Invitation Missions. Wake up and you'll be here. When he wakes up, the system tells him to start with Mond and turn the continent of Tivat into a world of duels. Every time a card game becomes popular in a city, you can obtain a Millennium Artifact. When you gather 7 Millennium Artifacts, you can obtain the power of any card in the game's king cards. Are you two going to buy a card bag? Lu Li asked as he looked at Pai Meng and Ying. Card bag. Ying looked at the beautifully packaged card bag on the desktop in confusion and asked, what is a card bag? Cards can be opened in a card pack, which in turn can summon duel monsters. The summoned duel monster can be used to play duel games. After speaking, Yu Hui picked up the remote control on the table and turned on the huge LCD TV hanging on the wall. There are no advertisements on televisions in a different world, and you can choose the content you want to play as soon as you open it. The TV content was quickly loaded and sound came out from inside. Welcome to Game King Baidu Baiki, I am the guide girl of Black Magic. With the sound, a shy, large-breasts girl holding a staff appeared on the screen. Dueling games use decks prepared by both sides to compete in a duel. The deck is 20.30 cards, with an additional deck of 0.5 cards. Cards with the same name can only hold a maximum of 3 cards. During the duel, both sides are free to use magic cards, trap cards, equipment cards, and other cards. The basic score for a duel is 4,000 points. When the basic score is 0, it means the duel has failed. The Black Magic Girl explained in great detail, not only explaining the basic rules of duels but also the requirements for special summoning. Boss, can you really summon a duel monster from TV? Ying asked with some disbelief. There is also a card game called Mond, called Summoning of the Seven Saints. This game is very popular in the Tivat continent, and she usually plays 1 or 2. Of course, it can be summoned. Luli brought the 2 of them to the lawn outside. Take out a winged chestnut ball from your pocket, throw it into the air, and then gently swipe your fingertips over the floating card in the air. At the moment of fingertip swiping, the card immediately emitted a dazzling light. When the light reached its peak, it suddenly exploded and scattered towards the surroundings, gradually converging again. When the light dissipated, a furry chestnut ball with a pair of wings appeared in the air. Curry. Curry. After the appearance of the feather chestnut ball, I looked around. After seeing Yu Hui, his 2 small eyes suddenly curved like crescents and flew onto Yu Hui's shoulders. It's called winged chestnut ball, also known as Kalibo. Of course, if you're happy, you can call it Li Shenlong, too. Yu Hui rubbed the little one on his shoulder and introduced it. Chapter 2. Ying's first card drawing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Thanks to system upgrades, duels can now be conducted anywhere in the entire Mond. As long as you have a duel board, the ground will automatically generate a duel field. What a cute little guy. Parman flew up to Chestnut Ball, store manager, can I touch this little guy? Of course, Luli nodded. Pai Meng gently rubbed the head of the chestnut ball, feeling the fluffy touch. He looked towards Ying and exclaimed, Traveler, come and touch it quickly. This little one feels so comfortable to touch. Upon hearing this, Ying's eyes widened slightly and she quickly walked up to Lu Li's side, asking, Can I also touch it? Help yourself. Lu Li placed the chestnut ball on his shoulder on the table. Kalibo sat on the table with a bewildered expression on his face. He was summoned by his master and was about to show off his skills, but he did not encounter the enemy. Instead, he encountered 2 bad guys who liked to touch him. I've wronged you, Kalibo. Watching the little one's bewildered expression, Yu Hui whispered humbly in his heart. Ying and Pai Meng seemed to have discovered the new world, holding the chestnut ball and looking east and west, touching it and asking if it could speak. In the end, the unbearable Kalibo directly transformed back into the appearance of a card. Boss, how did the little one turn into a card? Parman asked in confusion. Upon hearing this, Yu Hui shook his head and said, The little one is also wise. If you treat it like this, it will also be unhappy. Sorry. Sorry, Ying said apologetically. As the things in the card could be summoned directly, it was too novel, and she was a bit lost in thought for a moment. It's okay, Yu Hui waved his hand. That little guy has a lot of momentum. At this moment, Ying handed Pai Meng to her side and whispered something novel in her ear. After hearing Ying's words, Pai Meng's eyes widened slightly and he said, Traveler, don't you want me anymore? No, idiot. Ying lightly tapped Pai Meng's head and it went blank. I mean, I want this little guy to travel with us, and on the journey, we can also have an extra companion. That's it, you said it earlier. Pai Meng patted his chest. Boss, can that little guy be sold to us? Pai Meng asked. This is my dual elf, it's not for sale. Yu Hui shook his head. Dueling elves? Ying asked somewhat puzzled. Monsters that can appear in reality are just projections, and only dual elves can appear in reality, explained Yu Hui. In fact, his ability to summon monsters is entirely with the help of the system. No matter what monster he is, he can directly summon it physically, rather than projecting it. Of course, only in the Mond area, as Mond has been systematically modified. But in addition to the help of the system, cards with dual elves can also appear in reality. Alright. Yu Hui pointed to the card bag on the table that was used for packaging badminton and chestnut balls. Can you open it from inside, little one? Do you want a bag? A pack of 10,000 Mora, with 5 cards in each pack. If you're lucky, it's possible that the first pack will arrive, tempted Yu Hui. After calculating with his own finger, Pemon said, it's very cost-effective. You can open a pack of 200 Tivat fried eggs. Ying also nodded, the price is indeed not expensive. Boss, I'll have a bag. Ying waved her small hand and took out 10,000 moles and placed them on the table. Thank you for your patronage. After receiving the money, Yu Hui asked the girl to choose a bag herself. After the girl had chosen, Yu Hui handed her the scissors and warned her to be careful not to cut out the cards. This is the experience of those who have passed by. Before crossing the border, Lu Li personally cut off a red and broken black magic guide girl. That card is worth 10,000 yuan, and at that time he was so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe. Gently cut open the packaging bag with scissors, and 5 cards appeared in sight. The first card is the Valkyrie of Divine Power. Divine Valkyrie, Star Rating. 4, Card Type. Normal Monster, Angel Clan/Light, Attack Power. 1800, Defense Force. 1050, Note. I won't provide the word count for the card description. If you don't understand, you can ask me in the comments section. Yu Hui glanced at it and was quite lucky. This card is relatively high in attack among the usual 4-star monsters. The second card is the Miscellaneous Fish in the Miscellaneous Fish. The Lion Wizard. The third and fourth cards are both magic cards. Fireball Ordinary Magic, deal 500 damage to the opponent. Sure enough, Ying, you are also a non-chieftain. Lu Li was about to comfort when he suddenly saw the last card in the girl's hand, and he was completely stunned. Impossible, how could she draw this card? Is it only oneself who is a nigger? I don't know how many packages I opened, but Skyman didn't come with any of the 3. Berry Magic Girl, Star Rating. 1 star, Card Type. Effect Monster, Magician/Earth, Attack Power. 400, Defense Force. 400, Effect. This card can be activated when successfully summoned. Add 1 Magic Girl monster to your hand from the deck, Effect 2. Once per turn, this card can be activated when it becomes the object of the opponent's effect or when it becomes the target of the opponent's monster's attack. Change the representation of this card and summon a special Magic Girl monster from the deck, other than Berry Magic Girl. What do you say about this monster card? It's not very strong, but it's disgusting. You crazily reduce your attacks and representations, and gradually you won't be able to defeat it. The most serious thing is that this deck can summon the father of the magician. The 5 Wizards. This guy will give you all your cards when he comes on stage. Chapter 3. Wing Chestnut Ball. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wow, the little girl on the card is so cute, even biting her pacifier, exclaimed Paimon in surprise. Ying nodded in agreement. Looking at the card in the girl's hand, Yu Hui felt envious. How did the opponent obtain a rare card the first time? And all I drive are miscellaneous fish. Is it like a fisherman who also has a novice protection period? Is this card powerful, boss? Ying asked. Very impressive, but it needs to be paired with a complete Magic Girl deck to be impressive. Knowing that she had drawn a powerful card, Ying suddenly smiled and said, Boss, give me 8 more packs. Okay. This time, Ying's luck was not as good as the first time. She drove it several times and it was all mixed fish. Looking at the cards piled up on the table, Ying suddenly understood her state when she discovered Yu Hui by the window just now. The card that I have been longing for has never come, which really makes me feel a bit discouraged. Pai Meng comforted Ying and said, "It's okay, we won't be able to draw this time. We'll come back next time. I know the location of many Qiuqiu people's tribes. Let's go borrow some from them then. Parman, come and draw a pack. What if you're lucky?" It has to be said that sometimes when she has time, she becomes addicted. Ying took out the last 10,000 moles, which she saved for dinner today. "Spend this 10,000, and tonight we can only have sunset fruit for dinner." "Okay, I'll do it." Pai Meng seemed determined and went to the card bag to pick a bag. Perhaps it is true that there is a newbie protection period, and Paimon's bag has drawn out their long-awaited Wing Chestnut Ball. Wing Chestnut Ball, Star Rating. 1 star, Card Type. Effect Monster, Angel/Light, Attack Power. 300, Defense Force. 200, Effect. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, it is activated. After activation, the controller of this card receives 0 combat damage in this turn. "Traveler, hurry up and summon this little guy." Pai Meng quickly grabbed the card into Ying's hand. "Thank you, Pemon." No thanks, you can summon this little guy out." Gooding nodded and then threw the card into the air. The next moment, the card fell down. The air suddenly fell silent. Watching the girl's movements, Yu Hui's eyes twitched slightly. He never expected that the girl would learn her own way of summoning. Your summoning method is given by the system and does not require the use of a dual tray. Boss. Before Ying could finish speaking, Yu Hui came to the wall, took off the dual tray, and handed it to the girl, saying, "That's our store manager's special summoning method. You need to use this to summon it." After speaking, Yu Hui coiled the duel in his hand and demonstrated it hand in hand. After carefully examining it, Ying walked outside and unfolded the dual tray on her arm. Put the deck into the dual tray. A gust of wind blew, and the girl's yellow hair fluttered gently. A dandelion gently brushed the young girl's hair with the gentle breeze. At the moment the wind stopped, the girl's voice appeared in the wilderness. "My turn, draw cards." Ying drew 5 cards from the deck, and then drew the Wing Chestnut Ball to strike cleanly on the duel board. "Come out, Wing Chestnut Ball." Watching the girl's summoning style, Yu Hui nodded. It was like playing cards, summoning monsters and shouting loudly. But when I think of the monster summoned by the majestic momentum, it's not a big monster, but a chestnut ball. I always feel a bit strange. At the moment the card touches the duel board, its data is transmitted to the field through the duel board. At the next moment, a little white starlight appeared on the ground, and as the starlight dissipated, the furry winged chestnut ball immediately jumped out of the ground. Curry. Curry. After Chestnut Ball appeared, he first looked around and found that there were no enemies. He began to search for his owner. When he saw Ying, his eyes immediately curved into crescents and flew to sit on Ying's shoulder. Curry. Curry. Boss, take a look, have we drawn a card sprite? Parman's excitement swirled around Chestnut Ball, feeling that the little one was so smart, not like a projector. Hiss, Yu Hui took a cold breath. He didn't expect Ying's luck to be so incredible that only one Chestnut Ball elf out of millions of cards would be unlocked. Yes, this little one is a dual elf. Upon hearing Yu Hui's words, Pai Meng happily spun around in the air, and Ying's eyebrows lit up with joy. Great, we have another companion on the journey. Chapter 4. Tivat's First Duel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dueling Monster Point Store. Ying and Pai Meng are sitting on the sofa watching Game King DM on TV. At this point, the plot has arrived at the Dueling Kingdom. Ying and Pai Meng were very engrossed in the room. Outside the room, Yu Hui looked at the wild boar that occasionally ran by. I sighed and didn't know how to repay the money owed to the system. Under the deceit of the system, he opened many card packets, and now he owes the system a large amount of money for those 3 Skyman cards. Tongzi, let me ask you something. Please say, my dear master. Upon hearing Yu Hui's words, a small black wizard girl appeared in the air. This is a system elf, only Yu Hui can see it. Why did you choose such a place where birds don't poop? It's difficult to even see a person's shadow in this place. Leaving aside the highly developed trade at Liyue Dock, even in Mon City, it's better than here. The black wizard girl tilted her head and thought for a moment before saying, this was chosen by the owner himself. When traveling, the system asked you what place to choose as the address, and what you said at that time was the wind rises from the ground. Ah. Did it happen due to my dreamy talk when I crossed over? Yu Hui recalled that when he finished his last task, he went offline in the wind. Can we move to Mon City? Are you sure you want to move? Master, you are invincible in this house. Upon hearing this, Yu Hui quickly shook his head and said, no more moving, no more moving. I think the scenery here is quite beautiful. Boss, why isn't the TV on? Paymon's voice came from inside the store. Here we go. Yu Hui stood up and walked towards the store. After arriving at the store, Yu Hui turned to Ying and Pai Meng, who were eagerly looking at him, and said, the anime for today has already been released, and if you want to watch it, only tomorrow will do. In fact, anime can be played continuously, but in order to sell their card bags, Yu Hui played 3 episodes for them. After arousing their curiosity, they come here every day. And after watching various cheating monsters in the anime, he said that those monsters can be obtained by opening card packs. How can they resist not opening card packs? Come back tomorrow, traveler. After thinking for a moment, Parman added, come earlier tomorrow. I want to watch the game and beat the feather moth. That guy is so despicable. Ying is not paying attention to this, she is paying attention to the powerful cards in the anime. She looks at Yu Hui and asks. Boss, is that dark mage really so powerful? Gathering 5 cards is almost enough to directly win the game. Yes, by collecting 5 cards, you can win the game. In duel games, this method is called special victory. Can you open that card bag? Ying quickly asked, wanting to get such a powerful card. This is not for sale, Yu Hui shook his head. Dark Master, Yu Hui is also very greedy, but this thing has not been released by the system yet, and his greed is useless. How can we obtain it? The girl asked again. After touching his chin and thinking for a while, Yu Hui said, let's wait for the competition. During the competition, some precious cards will become prizes for the champions. Only competitions are the best promotional videos. Once the competition is held, it can attract many people and they won't have to worry about not being able to sell their card bags. Upon hearing these words, Pai Meng instantly became interested and said, Store manager, do you also want to hold the Duel Kingdom competition? After watching the anime, she also wanted to become a noble dueler, leading her card companions through the levels and becoming the Duel King. Of course, it's just that. Yu Hui sighed and didn't continue. Just what? Parman quickly asked. However, there are too few people who know about card monsters now, and the competition cannot be held at all. Well, I thought it was something big. It's all up to me. Tomorrow, I'll bring someone over for you. Parman looked up proudly, giving me a look of peace of mind. Are you a traveler? Pai Meng looked at Ying and asked. Ying nodded and looked at Yu Hui, saying, Boss, don't worry, I will bring my friend over tomorrow. I think she will be interested in this card game. Seeing the two of them helping each other so hard, Yu Hui couldn't help but express himself, otherwise he wouldn't have appeared too stingy. He walked to the wall and picked up a duel tray, handing it to Parman. This duel tray is for you, and I'm giving you 10 packs of cards each. This can be considered a thank you for your help. Pai Meng didn't take it because the duel tray was much larger than hers and couldn't be put down, not at all. As her travel companion, Ying naturally wants to experience the joy of playing cards in Pai Meng. She was just about to ask if it was possible to make a duel tray that was suitable for the size of Pemon, when she saw that the duel tray shrank in the moment it touched Pemon. The system has specially designed a duel tray to allow everyone to experience the fun of dueling. The duel tray will become the appropriate size for the user at the moment it touches them. Of course, the cards will also be proportionally reduced. Wow, the duel tray has become smaller. Pai Meng quickly put on the duel reel and carefully examined it, finding it to be just the right size. Traveler, look, I also have a duel tray. After putting on the duel tray, Pemon immediately came to the traveler's side to show off. Got it, got it. Watching Pai Meng flying around beside her, she was extremely excited, and a smile appeared on Ying's face. Randomly look at the dazzling card bags in the store. Parman, let's open the deck. What deck do you want to play with? I want to play the mage deck, it's so powerful in the anime. Take me and continue playing my magic girl deck. Watching the two of them pondering what deck to play, Yu Hui didn't disturb them and silently retreated to the side. Sometimes the fun of dueling is just that simple. Two people with two decks can play for a day. Of course, except for the God Monument deck, this deck is truly a birth in the process. When the God Monument player appears, the most frequently heard words by Yu Hui are, I summon my fist to attack. When the two were drawing cards, Yu Hui didn't have any free time and continued to build his own Yin Xiong. Unexpectedly, I just took out the deck. Ying suddenly walked up to him. Boss, let's have a duel. Chapter 5. Heroes vs. Magic Girls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Traveler, are you sure you want to duel with me? Yes, store manager, the Paimenka team is not yet ready. I can only initiate a duel with you, and just call me Ying. Ying had a confident expression on her face, and her magic girl deck had already completed most of the opening just now. Watching the passionate duels of the main characters in the anime, she also wanted to experience the fun of dueling. Looking at the confident appearance of the young girl, Yu Hui nodded and agreed to the duel invitation. This kind of duel method that summons monsters is a lifelong dream for card players. He has been looking forward to such a day, and today it can finally be realized. Yu Hui took out his deck. He now has two sets of decks. A set of semi-finished heroes, a set of heroes. As a player who likes to bring Xiao Rong to others, he definitely wants to use Yin Xiong card decks. This deck is full of lava demons and bottomless traps. But if the opponent is playing a duel game for the first time, it wouldn't be good if they were to become autistic. He also hopes that the other party can bring someone over to buy a card bag. After some thought, I decided to use semi-finished heroes. As for Yin Xiong, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. The tree with the highest wind speed is located about 100 meters away. Yu Hui began his first duel in Tivat. After separating enough distance, Yu Hui looked at the nervous girl on the other side and said, Ying, are you ready? Ying nodded and put the deck into the duel tray. Yu Hui took out a Mora and gently bounced it up. Ding! At the moment when Mora landed, both of them shouted out at the same time, duel. Mora is on the front, so I'll take the first attack and draw cards. Ying added 5 cards to her hand, and upon seeing the situation of the 5 cards, she was immediately overjoyed. Perfect hand. I summon the Divine Valkyrie and attack her. Ying patted a monster card onto the duel board, and a blue pattern appeared on the board. The card data was immediately transmitted to the field through the duel board. The special effects of light and shadow appeared on the ground, creating a circular airflow. A female warrior with huge wings and wearing silver armor appeared on the field. Divine Valkyrie, attack 1800, finally, I put on a card and the turn ends. After speaking, Ying placed the gacha on the duel tray. A mysterious cover card immediately appeared in her backyard. Watching the cards on the field, Yu Hui began to think about what traps the Magic Girl deck would bring. But when I looked at the cards in my hand, I couldn't help but think nonsense and draw cards directly. My turn. Yu Hui drew a card, and when he saw the card drawn, his face turned black. He put it into his hand, glanced at the card in his hand, and glanced at the mysterious block card that was shining. After careful consideration, it was difficult to choose a card to take. I summoned the Elemental Hero. The Electric Light Hero presents a defensive gesture. Elemental Hero Electric Light Hero, with a defensive strength of 1400, then cover a card and the turn ends. Paimon Ying. After pondering for a while, I thought I was going to summon some powerful monster, and after half a day, I was able to shoot an Electric Light Hero. Store manager, don't let me just because I'm a beginner, Ying said after putting the newly drawn card into her hand. Don't worry, I won't let you, Yu Hui said with a slight toothache. Looking at the cards in my hand, me. There's nothing we can do about it. I have 6 cards in my hand, 5 of which are heroes. 1 winged hero, 2 hot girls, 1 flame girl, and 1 electric light hero. MD Fusion doesn't have a single one. So we can only choose the one with the highest defensive power to go top. Okay, now it's my turn. Ying looked at her hand, thought for a moment, and then placed the card she had just drawn on the duel board. I summon the Magic Berry Girl and activate her effect. Ying slapped the monster card onto the duel board, and at the moment the card touched, the surface of the board suddenly had a surge of patterns. Along with the surge of patterns, the card's data was transmitted to the duel table. Pink starlight particles appear on the ground when all particles converge. A petite girl with a pink staff in hand, a pink pointed hat on her head, a pacifier in her mouth, and wings appeared on the field. Berry Magic Girl, attack power 400. After the monster appeared, Ying pulled out the deck from the duel tray, spread it out in her hand, and explained while searching. When the Berry Magic Girl successfully summons, I can add a monster of the Magic Girl type to my hand from the deck. What I have chosen is this screen with the selected card facing forward, Kiwi Magic Girl. After putting the drawn cards into her hand, Ying Xiaoshuo waved her hand and issued an attack command. Chapter 6. Heroes have a stage for heroic battle. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Divine Power Female Warrior shatters the Elemental Hero, Bubble Hero. As the command was given, the Divine Valkyrie flapped her wings and lifted her long spear, flying away. The afterimage quickly flashed towards the Elemental Hero, the Electric Light Hero, who was squatting down for defense. I am truly a beginner, but I am reckless. Yu Hui shook his head and waved his hand as the Divine Valkyrie was about to stab the Electric Light Hero. Open the cover card, attack becomes powerless. The opponent's monster's attack is ineffective and forces the end of the battle phase. The trap card that had been covering the ground stood up in an instant, and a gust of wind blew out from inside, forming a vortex barrier to protect the Electric Knight. The spear pierced by the Holy Valkyrie was bounced back, completely unable to penetrate the defense layer of the Electric Light Hero. Damn it! Seeing that his attack was not effective, Ying glanced at the card in his hand and ended the turn. This card is so powerful that it can end someone else's turn. I'll take one in the future, no. Put 3 cards in my deck. Watching the gradually transparent and dissipating trap cards on the field, a small star appeared in Pemon's eyes. That's my turn. Yu Hui drew a card, glanced at it, and a slight smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Fortunately, he drew the Pot of Desire. The next second, without any hesitation, Yu Hui directly slapped the Pot of Desire onto the duel tray. I activate the magic card, the Pot of Desire. A strange green light emanated from the field in front of Yu Hui, and the light dissipated. A large green oil pot with yellow teeth and an extremely lewd smile jumped out from the ground. Oh, how disgusting. Looking at this card, Ying and Pai Meng couldn't help but shiver. If they had to choose, they wouldn't have put this card in their own deck. Their deck was full of sister cards and cute monsters. Upon hearing their words, Yu Hui did not explain either. They had just started playing and had no idea about the concept of earning cards and the difference between them. After experiencing the beating in the future, they will understand how powerful a card is that can earn cards steadily without any cost. Due to the effect of the Pot of Desire, I can draw 2 cards from the deck. Let's merge and win, Yu Hui murmured in his heart. MD has a bunch of heroes in his hand, but there is no fusion hero deck. It's really a bit of a mixed fish. Draw cards. Yu Hui opened his eyes and glanced at the 2 cards he had drawn. His eyes suddenly lit up, and the field followed suit. Yadays. Successful, I activate the magic card, Merge. Without hesitation, Yu Hui typed out the card that had just been drawn. I fused the elemental hero's Winged Hero and the elemental hero's Hot Girl in my hand. As 3 cards were played, a red and blue spiral vortex appeared on the field. Elemental Hero Winged Hero and Elemental Hero Hot Girl also appeared from the card. The 2 of them exchanged a glance and jumped into the vortex together. Yu Hui took out the fusion card from the extra deck, slapped it on the duel board, and shouted loudly. Come out, my favorite hero. Elemental Hero. Flame-Winged Man. Yu Hui slapped the fusion card onto the duel tray. Next second, the divine radiance shines on the earth, with the dragon head surging with scorching flames in its right hand, sharp claws in its left hand, and a giant winged elemental hero, the Flame-Winged Man, flying out of the fusion vortex behind it. Elemental Hero. Flame-Winged Man, Attack Power. 2100, Fusion. Summoning. Ying looked curiously at the Flame-Winged Man on the field. Although she had seen it in the anime, it was the first time in reality that she had seen the Dao Fusion summoning. But with an attack of only 2100, I can't deduct much health, Ying whispered in her heart. As if hearing her thoughts, Yu Hui drew another card from his hand and said, Heroes also have a stage suitable for heroes to fight. I will activate the venue magic card. Skyscraper. As Yu Hui slapped the card, the ground suddenly cracked and a yellow flash erupted, followed by skyscrapers rising up in the yellow light. Is this the magic of the venue that can change the environment? It's so magical. Ying looked around curiously. The sun has dispersed, the bright moon is hanging high, and skyscrapers cover the entire site. At the moment the venue appeared, the Flame-Winged Man appeared at the highest position of the skyscraper, holding his chest and standing there. Yu Hui glanced at the Flame-Winged Man standing above his head and shook his head. As expected, just like in the anime, as long as the skyscraper appeared, he could be found there. This round, I haven't made the usual summoning yet. I chose the elemental hero in my hand, the Flame Girl, as an attack, said Yu Hui, taking out the Flame Girl and lightly tapping it onto the duel tray. Elemental Hero, Hot Girl, Attack Power. 1300, a fierce flame ignited on the ground, and a Flame Girl wearing red armor emerged from the flames. Finally, I am changing Elemental Hero. Electric Light Hero, to attack. Elemental Hero Electric Light Hero, Attack Power. 1600 glancing at the tiles on the screen, Yu Hui didn't let the Flame-Winged Man attack, but instead sent out the monster with the lowest attack power. Go, Flame Girl, attack the Holy Woman Warrior, Flame Storm. Ying furrowed her cute eyebrows and asked, the attack power of the female warrior with an expression is 1800, and your attack power is 1300. Are you sure, store manager? If you attack, you will lose health. Yu Hui shook his head and pointed to the skyscraper behind him, saying, have you forgotten my venue? The skyscraper effect is that when the elemental hero's attack target exceeds their own attack power increases by 1000 points during the attack. My current attack power is 1000 plus 13002300 points. Ying couldn't help but feel a little surprised. What? Chapter 7. The End of Dueling. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The flame girl, wrapped in flames all over her body, jumped up high and a hot fireball appeared in her hand. Throwing it forward, the moment the fireball hit, the divine Valkyrie was shattered like shattered glass, and her body disappeared from the field. Ying, LP 4000.3500, my attack is not over yet, Elemental Hero Electric Light Hero attacks Berry Magic Girl. Don't expect to succeed. Ying Xiaoshu waved her hand and quickly said, at the moment you declared your attack, I activated the effect of Berry Magic Girl. Change the representation of this card and summon one Magic Girl monster other than Berry Magic Girl from the deck. At the moment the command was issued, the Berry Magic Girl immediately became on guard, and then Ying pulled out a deck from the duel board, found the Lemon Magic Girl, and placed it on the duel board to show his guard. Lemon Magic Girl, Defense. 600, Useless Struggle. Yu Hui continued to order, and the Electric Light Hero continued to attack the Berry Magic Girl. The Magic Girl effect only occurs once per turn. If it is not eliminated after using the effect in this turn, it can be used again in the next turn. As Yu Hui's command fell, the blue warrior wrapped in electric current flew forward, with his right palm protruding. A pale blue lightning shot through the body of the Berry Magic Girl like a javelin, and the latter exploded and disappeared on the field. Boss, you have a ruthless heart. You can even deal with such a cute monster, said Pemon. Yes, yes. Ying nodded in agreement. Upon hearing this, Yu Hui smiled and said, on the field of competition, there is no distinction between cuteness, because true card players do not take objects. Ah. What does that mean? A big question mark popped up on the screen. You'll understand later. After speaking, Yu Hui hesitated for a moment as he looked at the only one still on the field, Lemon Magic, and finally issued an attack command. Go, Flame-Winged Man, Flame Shooting. At the moment when Yu Hui issued the attack command, Ying also simultaneously activated the effect of Lemon Magic Girl. When this card is selected as the target for attack, summon a special summon from the hand card that renders the effect of one Mage Clan monster ineffective. Afterwards, the attack target shifted to that monster, and the attacking monster's attack power became half. What I choose to summon is the Kiwi Magic Girl. With the girl's coquettish moan, blue starlight immediately appeared on the ground. When the starlight converged, a magic big sister wearing blue armor, a helmet resembling a bullhorn hat, and purple hair appeared in the sight of the three of them. Kiwi Magic Girl, Attack Power. 1800. This is the shameless aspect of the Magic Girl deck, with unlimited reduction in attacks and unlimited special moves. As long as there are enough squares, it can continuously summon monsters to the field, and your attacks can be halved at high levels. Store manager, your Flame-Winged Man is not my opponent. My Kiwi Magic Girl has an attack power of 1800, and even with the addition of Ferris Wheel, your Flame-Winged Man's field effect is only 1550 after being reduced in attack. And now you only have one card in your hand, Ying said with her hands on her hips, feeling like she had a chance to win. If I really follow your advice, I can't beat you, but... The fact is, the rules are not like that. Yu Hui pointed to the skyscraper behind him and said, the attack power increased by the skyscraper is only calculated during the attack. That is to say, what you reduced was my monster's original attack, not the attack after I added the bonus. The original attack of the elemental hero Flame-Winged Man was 2100, and cutting half would result in 1050. So my current attack power is 1050 plus 10002050, not 1550. So. I won. Yu Hui waved his hand, go ahead, Flame-Winged Man, Flame Shooting. The Flame-Winged Man jumped up high, flipping the hot flame faucet in his hand, and immediately sprayed out a strong flame. Bang! Flames swept across the stage, engulfing the Kiwi magic girl with towering flames. Ying, LP 3500.3250, it's not over yet. When the elemental hero Flame-Winged Man destroys monsters in battle, he will inflict damage on the opponent's destruction monster's attack power value. So, you also have to deal 1,800 points of effect damage. Ying, LP 2950.1450, my turn is over. As Ying was preparing to draw a card, Yu Hui shook his finger and said, it's not over yet. At the end of the turn, elemental hero Flame Girl will give the opponent a damage of 200 times the number of monsters with the name elemental hero indicated on her table. I have 3 elemental heroes on the field, so I want to give you 600 damage. A fireball appeared in the hands of the elemental hero, the Flame Girl, and shot towards the screen. Ying LP 1450.850, it's your turn, Ying. It's your turn now, and I'm looking forward to your counterattack, Yu Hui smiled. My turn. Ying's expression was somewhat solemn as she placed her hand on the deck. This draw determines whether she can turn the tables. Draw cards. I drew a feather chestnut ball, and my eyes lit up, so I went straight ahead. I'll cover and place a monster, turn. Before the girl could finish speaking, Yu Hui interrupted, are you sure the turn is over? Are you really not doing anything else? Upon hearing this, Ying glanced at her card and shook her head. Her card does not support her doing other operations. Yu Hui looked at the cards on the ground with a strange expression, and the cards on the field were too easy to guess. What else can it be besides badminton? Yu Hui shook his head and said, then you lost. Flame-Winged Man, attack Lemon Magic Girl. The scorching flames erupted from the hands of the Flame-Winged Man, who disappeared into the flames. Due to the effect of the Flame-Winged Man, Ying takes 800 damage points. Ying, LP 850.50, the turn is over. The effect of elemental hero Flame Girl is activated, and Ying receives 600 points of effect damage. Ying, LP 50.0, the duel is over, and the winner is Yu Hui. Chapter 8. True Blue-Eyed Ultimate Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We were unexpectedly caught by the boss twice. Pai Meng said reluctantly at the entrance of the store. There's no way, the boss is too strong, Ying smiled. But we didn't even take a drop of the boss's blood out of each deck of cards, Pai Meng sighed. Yu Hui smiled and said, luck, it's just luck. This is not his humility, it's really a matter of luck. If he didn't draw fusion just now, it would have been him who lost. Fortunately, we were able to draw fusion. Otherwise, we would lose to a beginner who would be embarrassed to sell cards in the future. We will definitely defeat you next time, boss. Yes, the traveler is right. Pai Meng held his hands and flew to Ying's side, confidently saying, we will not only defeat you, but also defeat everyone when you hold the duel competition and become the duel king. Seeing the two of them so confident, Yu Hui also smiled and said, okay, then I'll wait until the day you defeat me. Subsequently, the two familiarized themselves with the summoning rules in the store and left. After the backs of the two disappeared from view, Yu Hui withdrew his gaze and returned to the store. As soon as I returned to the store, the system elf and small black wizard girl flew out. Congratulations to the owner for completing the task of selling the first card pack. Please submit it carefully. Upon hearing this sentence, Yu Hui immediately called out the system panel. A blue light curtain appears in the field of vision. The light curtain provides a detailed distribution of the system's functions. From top to bottom, they are Mission, Mall, Duel Point, Map Task. It is divided into long-term tasks and limited-time tasks. Long-term tasks involve selling card bags, and rewards can be obtained if a certain quantity is not sold. Limited-time tasks are triggered irregularly, and completion can also earn rewards. Mall. It is the place to purchase card bags. Of course, the card packs in the mall are different from those in the store. The card packs in the mall are themed card packs like Gold Country and Silver City, but he can only watch these cards now because drawing these cards requires a duel point. Duel points. Obtained by selling card packs and completing tasks, each pack sold can earn 10 duel points. Map. This is the place where the system has been modified. Currently, only Mond has been modified. In other places, if you want to use a duel board to play cards directly, you must go through system modification. The duel points that need to be scrutinized for map transformation, such as Liyue, require 100,000 duel points to unlock. 100 million duel points, a long way to go. Yu Hui glanced at his own duel points, only 100. This was obtained from selling card packs today. After a sigh, Yu Hui opened the task interface. Long-term task. Sell a pack of card bags, completed, time-limited task. None after submitting the task, a new task appears. Long-term task. Selling 100 card packs, ongoing, the voice of the black magic girl also appeared on time. She flew up to Yu Hui and took out a bag of cards from the bottom of her skirt. Here, master, this is your reward. What for? Dimensional pocket. Yu Hui took the card bag and looked bewildered. Yu Hui looked at the card bag in his hand, and then at the black magic guide girl who was not as big as the card bag. He couldn't figure out how to take out the card bag. Seeing Yu Hui staring at her with a puzzled expression, the black magic girl suddenly felt a little shy and said, "Master, stop looking at me and take a look at your reward." Okay. Yu Hui shook his head and didn't think anymore. After all, she was already a magical girl, and having some special abilities was normal. Yu Hui first looked at the cover of the card bag, which was blue-eyed and white dragon. This card represents the ability to issue cards related to blue eyes and white dragons. He doesn't ask much, as long as he has a blue-eyed white dragon, it's good. If it's not possible, even my sister Law, by Ling Long, can do it. After carefully tearing off the packaging of the card bag, Yu Hui slowly slid the packaging bag down. Dragon Clan. 8 stars. Light. Stable. Blue-eyed white dragon. After opening the packaging bag, Yu Hui was stunned. The dragon on the card was not silver-white, but yellow and white. The Dragon Clan's 8-star light is correct, but the attack power is 2950, which is not blue-eyed white dragon at all, but rabbit dragon. It's okay, there are 4 more, Yu Hui comforted himself. Next, Yu Hui followed the previous hype and slowly slid down. Dragon Clan, 8 stars, light, 3000. This time it was really stable, and Yu Hui lifted the covered rabbit dragon, revealing its silver-white body. 4 big characters appear in the upper left corner. Blue-eyed white dragon. Yu Hui was almost scared out of his heart disease. With a blue-eyed white dragon card, he didn't care about the remaining 3 cards anymore. When he spread them out in his hand, he froze. In order to make sure it wasn't an illusion, Yu Hui quickly rubbed his eyes. He didn't read it wrong, and the remaining 3 cards were Blue-eyed white dragon, Blue-eyed white dragon, and True blue-eyed ultimate dragon. How about finding a place to summon and give it a try? The black wizard girl mischievously blinked her eyes and asked. Of course, Yu Hui replied, without the need for the black magic girl to say, he also wanted to give it a try. Summoning the physical language of blue-eyed white dragon is the dream of every Dragon Cancer player. Closing the store door, Yu Hui arrived at a relatively spacious place. I took out the card and was about to summon it when the voice of the black magic girl quickly took out her magic wand from under her skirt and knocked on Yu Hui's head. Are you a fool? Master, take a look at what card you're holding in your hand. Blue-eyed white dragon, summon it to be as big as a teaching building. The fused, true blue eyes ultimate occupies an area that exceeds a basketball court. Are you calling out here to crush that big tree? You're right too, Lu Li nodded. He remembers that big tree was still very important to Mon's people. Half an hour later, Li finally found a place to summon, Shuoxingyao. This place is spacious and spacious enough. Arriving at the mountaintop of picking stars, Li took a deep breath and recalled the posture of the president summoning. How could summoning the extreme dragon not have a sense of ceremony? Li concentrated his energy and threw cards into the air. Then, his fingertips brushed over the 3 blue-eyed white dragons floating in the air and fused them. The cards immediately emitted a dazzling light, with a lightning-like light shining across the sky. Li waved his hand and began to recite the summoning words. The posture of the strongest dragon after evolution, let the world see your glory, appear here, my pride, my Tamashii, truly blue-eyed ultimate dragon. With 3 dragon chants, 3 blue-eyed white dragons flew out of the clouds and headed towards the vortex merging in the air. In the next moment, blue light shone all over his body, his wings spread like clouds, and his entire body emitted an unparalleled majesty. The true blue-eyed ultimate dragon broke through the fusion vortex and appeared on the star-picking end. Ong. With an extremely domineering dragon chant, the true blue-eyed ultimate dragon announced its arrival to the entire continent of Tivat. P.S. Handsome bosses and humble authors are looking for a wave of free flowers and review tickets. Please let me know what deck you want to see in the comments section, even if it's just a bubble, let me know that there are still people watching. Chapter 9. The Impact of True Blue-Eyed Ultimate Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mond, Starry Lake. Oh my, where did such a strong wind come from? The sudden wind caused Parman to lose control and collide with a tree. Are you okay, Piman? Ying cut open the Qiuqiu person in front of him and turned around, asking with some concern. Pai Meng slowly flew up from the ground and shook his slightly dizzy head, saying, "It's okay, why did the wind suddenly increase?" Traveler. Traveler, look. Blue-eyed ultimate dragon. Parman said incredulously. Blue-eyed ultimate dragon. Ying looked in the direction pointed by Pai Meng, and at the moment she saw it, her beautiful eyes couldn't help but widen slightly. I saw the weather just now, which was still clear and clear for thousands of miles, suddenly became a bit dark. A 3-headed giant dragon appeared in the sky above the star-picking end, which was unknown how many times larger than Bitwillen. Under the dark sky, the wings of the giant dragon, with their wings spread like clouds, were covered in brilliant blue patterns. Every provocation brings up countless blue particles. These particles are like dandelions, gently blown by the wind and drifting towards various parts of Mond. Ying reached out to take a particle, and the feeling of the particle falling into her hand was warm. After a moment, it dissipated like snowflakes. Pai Meng looked at the giant dragon in the sky and said with some uncertainty, "This dragon is a bit like the blue-eyed ultimate dragon we saw in the store manager's thing called TV. Traveler, do you think this dragon is the blue-eyed ultimate dragon?" Pai Meng turned to look at Ying and asked. Ying shook her head and said, "It feels a bit different, but the point is not that. Didn't you notice that this dragon doesn't look like a projection? Hey." Upon hearing Ying's words, Pai Meng quickly looked carefully and said, "It's true. It's not a projection, is this also the store manager's card elf? Such a big card elf. Ah, it's gone. The giant dragon that was just on the horizon has transformed into countless particles and dissipated in the air." After the disappearance of the giant dragon, Ying looked towards the direction of the wind and said, "I don't know. Just go ask the boss tomorrow. Alright, don't look anymore. After dealing with the hill people at the hill people camp in front, let's go to Mond City to see if there are any commissions. There will still be a lot of Mora to draw tomorrow." "That's right." Pai Meng nodded and added, "It's better to go earlier tomorrow. I want to watch the game and beat the feather moth." The two of them chatted and approached the Qiuqiu camp. After arriving at the Qiuqiu camp, they froze in place. They found that the people of Qiuqiu were lying on the ground with their heads in their hands, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. "Traveler, Can this be related to the dragon summoned by the store manager? Half an hour later, Ying and Pai Meng arrived at Mon City. Upon arriving in the city, the two headed straight for the blacksmith shop. Uncle Wagner, these are today's crystal mines and iron ore. Ying took out all the minerals from her backpack. Are you a traveler? What weapons are you going to forge today? Wagner put down his hammer and smiled. Ying shook her head and said, I won't make weapons today. Uncle Wagner, please replace all of them with Mora. Okay. Wagner counted the ore and said, a total of 11,000 Mora, please keep it. After taking Mora, Ying asked, Uncle Wagner, do you know what's going on in the city now? Why are everyone worried? As soon as she entered the city, she noticed that there were more and more Westwind knights patrolling the city than before, and the pedestrians on the road were also worried. Sigh. Wagner sighed, today someone found a giant dragon near the star-picking end, which is countless times larger than the dragon from the last dragon disaster. Mond can no longer withstand the turmoil. May the wind god bless Mond. Ying and Pai Meng exchanged a glance, unsure of what explanation to make. Glory Knight, finally found you. Kaya's voice came in. Ying turned around and found Kaya walking over with two Westwind knights. What can I do for you? Kaya, Pemon asked. It's like this, someone found the trail of a giant dragon at the star-picking end, and the Qin team leader wants to discuss this matter with you. Kaya said her intention. Watching everyone panic about this matter, Pai Meng couldn't help but explain. Actually, you don't have to worry. This dragon is not a real dragon, but a dual elf of the card store owner. Dueling elves. Card store. Kaya was a bit confused when he heard this. He knew that there was a store selling 7 saint summoning cards in Mon City, but what kind of ghost was the dueling elf? In order to explain one by one, Ying had to ask Kaya to take her to the headquarters of the Shifeng Knights and tell Captain Qin, and then ask her to tell the people in the city. The headquarters of the Knights of Mond. You said that dragon was summoned from a card. Qin said incredulously. Yes, it's like this. Ying unfolded the duel tray in her hand and slapped the winged chestnut ball onto it. A burst of white light flashed, and winged chestnut ball appeared in front of everyone. Curry. Curry. Seeing so many people surrounding him, winged chestnut ball was startled and quickly flew behind Ying to hide, then quietly revealed half of his head. After seeing the appearance of the chestnut ball, the people around suddenly widened their eyes. What the traveler said is actually true. The things drawn in the card can actually be summoned. Chapter 10. The Feather Sweep of 2000 W. Mora. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early the next morning, Yu Hui opened the store door early. Waiting for business to come to your doorstep. He had no idea what impact the true blue-eyed ultimate dragon he summoned yesterday had on Mond. At this moment, I am chatting with the system elf and the black wizard girl without saying a word. Master, I suggest you change your hairstyle and preferably get a starfish head. The black wizard girl sat at the table humming a song and shaking her little feet. Upon hearing this, Yu Hui put down the card in his hand and asked, why do you have such thoughts? Sigh, the black wizard girl sighed, because the owner's hairstyle doesn't know how to play cards at first glance. Upon hearing this, Yu Hui was slightly taken aback and then shook and smiled, saying, there is still such a thing to say. Yes, the protagonists of Game King throughout history have had abnormal hairstyles. For example, in games, Game City Era, Game Horse, and Game Arrow, their hairstyles correspond to starfish, jellyfish, crabs, lobsters, and tomatoes, respectively. But Yu Hui is still a bit like a card player, his surname is Yu. Boss, we're here. Pemon's voice came from afar. Yu Hui turned his head and found that besides Ying, there were also the leader of the piano group, Barbara, Diluc, and Lisa following behind. Welcome everyone to visit. Boss, we won't open the card for now. We would like to watch the anime you mentioned yesterday, Parman said immediately as he entered the room. Boss, you can show it to her first, Ying said. When she went back yesterday, she kept nagging and called us in early this morning. Hey. Parman felt a little embarrassed and rubbed his head. Sure, Yu Hui nodded. This is exactly what he meant. After watching the anime, these people will probably understand the specific summoning rules, so don't let him explain them one by one. Okay. After hearing Yu Hui's agreement, Pai Meng happily spun around in the air and began introducing the plot of the game to others. Soon the TV turned on. At first, the group was still a bit confused, but as Parman explained, they gradually became fascinated by the plot. While they were watching the anime, Yu Hui was not idle either. He put the card bags that were going to be sold today one by one in his exclusive location. The cards in the store are unlocked with anime, and currently playing Game King DM, so there will be no cards that merge with the above for the time being. Not long after, today's 3 episodes of anime were aired, and everyone was still a bit unsatisfied. After hearing Pemin say that only 3 episodes can be played every day, they felt regretful. Boss, can't this pack of cards be used for the peacock dance in anime? Lisa pulled up a pack of cards with a curious expression on her face and asked. Yu Hui put down the box in his hand, turned around to look, and nodded after seeing the cover of the card bag. The cover on the card bag is a woman with a pair of green wings, very similar to an eagle except for her head and body. Ms. Lisa, you actually have a crush on the Divine Eagle Girl. I don't think the Divine Eagle Girl is impressive. After a moment of contemplation, Pemin expressed his own opinion. By comparison, I think the decks in the city are more powerful, especially the Time Magician. Upon hearing this, Lisa covered her mouth and smiled. Eagle Girl, she's not that powerful, but the magic card she uses is very powerful. After speaking, she looked at Yu Hui again and smiled. So can a feather sweep be opened in this card bag? Boss. Yu Hui looked at her with some surprise, not expecting her to see the power of the feather sweep. Before he crossed over, almost every card player would put a card in their deck. As for why only 1 card is allowed instead of 3, it's because it's banned. The effect of this long card is a bit abnormal, as it can unconditionally destroy all the opponent's trap cards. It can be driven, but the chance of reaching it is very small, Yu Hui replied. Lisa smiled and asked, how low is it? After recalling the probability that the system had told him earlier, Yu Hui said, 0.05%. Upon hearing this string of numbers, Pai Meng picked up his fingers and began to calculate, but after a while, he still couldn't figure it out. In the end, Diluc walked out and said, that means only 20,000 cards can be issued. Ah, it's so low. 20,000 bags. So to get that card, you need at least 2,000 million Mora, Barbara said, holding her small mouth and looking shocked. Ah. 2,000 W Mora. Upon hearing this number, Pai Meng couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, and Ying was also somewhat surprised. She thought that this card might be a bit expensive, but didn't expect it to be so outrageous. Qin can no longer speak. At the cost of Mon City, a person can spend up to 20,000 Mora per day. 2,000 W Mora can make a person happy and carefree in Mon for 3 years. Diluc was not much surprised. 2,000 million Mora was nothing to him. Seeing everyone so surprised, Yu Hui smiled and said, it's not like that. Isn't there also the saying of luck? If you're lucky, the first package will arrive, isn't it just 10,000 moles? That's also right. Everyone turned around and thought that it was indeed like this. Luck is something that no one can explain clearly.